Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Literarily Wasted. We're excited to be here.
We're back.
Okay, are you there? Okay, hello.
I was waiting for you to do the intro.
Oh, welcome to Literarily Wasted. My name is Adam.
I'm Christy. Ooh, and
I'm Talia, and I am a ghost.
I am Lucas.
And in case you didn't know, those are our names on the screen. Today is Wednesday, the end of the month. It is June, and we are here to discuss the whole book, the thrilling conclusion of V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic, which is very exciting. We have a lot to talk about. Let's do some shout outs in the comment section. And look what we could do. In case y'all are just tuning in, we can put y'all's names on the screen.
Yay, hi, Bethany.
So, hey, Nicole. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Sver. Still don't know how to say your name. So sorry.
It's there.
Sver. Hi, Brittany. Hey, Dan. There's Kimberly.
Hey,
She's
Lisa.
here.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Ed. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Virginia. Hey, Megan. You were taking too long. I'm sorry.
Did y'all finish the book? Kate's
did.
on YouTube. Says, evening, folk.
Yeah.
I did finish the book, and not only did I finish the book, but I pulled an anti-Talia, and I did not read the rest of the trilogy because I was really stressed about spoilers. I just had...
Did you start the second book?
No.
Oh.
I just had a feeling that I would not do a great job at not spoiling things for this particular discussion, and I know we had so many people who did read ahead into the trilogy, so Lucas also finished like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Wow.
Cindy.
So I didn't do
I read
it.
the entire second half on Saturday, like in one day. I've never done this in the history of this book club. Read the whole section for the month in a day. Never done it. Did it this time, mostly because I knew I wasn't going to have much time this week.
Fair.
But you still did it. I spread mine out and finished over the weekend, like a good person.
Just
Wow.
right out there.
I've had some projects on my plate, and I really procrastinated. And I did start I paced myself to a degree, but I plus we had all sorts of people coming to our house looking at house stuff. But I finished it
outside of our house.
Yes.
Don't stress.
5:30,
No one
6:30?
was inside our house.
6:30. Yes, outside.
Is it better if I lean far away?
I think
that's about
the
you just
same.
got to own it. Just own the fact that you're.
I'm very sorry for everyone who's scared of ghosts. I don't know what's happening with our lighting situation. We tried a bajillion different things, but I just look like a light bulb, and that's just how it's going to be this evening.
Plus, we're running your computer.
Oh,
So we had so many people that were like, we have people all over the place. They were like, I finished it right after the discussion. I finished it yesterday. I finished it 15 minutes ago. So should we go around the horn here and say what our impressions are before we dive into the nitty gritty
Yes.
of the darker shades of magic?
Yep.
Okay. Who should go?
You're already talking, or Christy can go.
Okay. So I enjoyed the book. Again, it captivated me enough, enough to keep reading and to read the whole thing and the rest of the book in a day. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very straightforward story. It just went from point A to point B with a little bit of
Those were my words. We talked about this earlier.
I
And
know, I
I
know. You stop. You can say two. But I did me too.
Two?
So,
you can say your own words too, Christy.
When Christy gets mad at me, is that I start making sentences that aren't actually sentences. But I enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I thought they were interesting all the way around. There wasn't a character that I disliked in this book. I mean, of course the villains. Obviously, I have qualities that I don't appreciate, but they were interesting characters.
They were great villains, though.
They were good villains.
Aren't twins the creepiest?
Yes.
Wait.
But,
No, but I without getting too much into it, I like this book a lot. Christy, go say what you were going to say.
ditto.
Yes,
No.
Adrian is right.
But on top of that, like I also really love this world. I just think it's just so fascinating. And the fact that you have like several different worlds and timelines, it's just really, really cool. But yeah, ditto.
Come on. Come on.
Oh my gosh, it's worse if I'm back here. I'm just gonna be right here. Hi. So I I really did enjoy it. Obviously, I am going to read the rest of the trilogy, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the rest of the trilogy. I enjoyed the first half of this book more than the second half, actually. I don't know. I think it was something about the pacing. Something about the pacing didn't hook me quite as much for the second half. That being said, like I still super enjoyed it. Love the world, found everything incredibly interesting. After reading Vicious and Vengeful as well, I really am starting to love V.E. Schwab as an author. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I really enjoyed the second half, but it kind of felt like something was missing for me in comparison to the first. I don't know what it was.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll
Okay.
find out.
Of course, this live discussion, we'll pull it out.
I liked it too. I think the pacing, like a lot of people, to me, I could really visualize this book and I could see it like a movie kind of unfolding in front of me, which I really appreciated. And I feel like some of the scenic descriptions and world building that was kind of lacking in Vicious, and that could have also been because it was set in our modern day time, so you don't need as much world building to imagine that. I love the idea of there being these multiple worlds, and it's not just a London, right? Like they get into it where it's like, where's Paris? There is no Paris here. I would say the only thing I didn't really care for overall was, I think by the end of it, the audiobook. It was a British man reading it, but I think the way he characterized some of the people, like Delilah talk like this the whole time, and I thought, I don't think Delilah really sounds like that to me. So yeah, so I mean, like I get that Delilah is, she's in that kind of seedy, she's from the streets, but like I don't see her as unintelligent or but it was a little too Eliza Doolittle, and Kel sounded way older. I don't know. I think overall, I think the narrator turned me off a little bit, but so I think the next time I really want to read it, but I would love to. Yeah, no. Well, I'd love to carry the trilogy on because I am really interested to see. I think she left just enough little tidbits to be like, ooh, this is gonna get good.
He's gonna read a real book.
I might read a real book.
She also left so much for her to like explore and go into with the world and the characters. Like it's just very straightforward. The whole book was, and I think in the rest of the trilogy, she probably does go into more depth on some things, maybe.
So I think Jeff's comment is interesting, and I think we had a lot of people who felt the same way. Because like in our first live discussion, if y'all were there, which you better have been, everybody seemed to be really into this book, and like I was really into it. It like had this sort of roller coaster pacing, but the majority of the comments were from y'all were very positive. Like, this is a really good book. Were we just in the sweet part of the bubblegum for some of y'all, and then it lost its flavor? Is that what happened to Talia? I mean, I can feel that too, I think. So like, I think I experienced that a bit as well. But I think that's interesting. I think it's an interesting analogy. And Matt's talking about the audiobook. Did you do the audiobook?
I did do the audiobook, and I didn't have a problem with the narrator. I mean, some of the narration was, I think the accent of Lila especially was pretty strong, but it didn't turn me off.
No, yeah, I would say it didn't turn me off. It's just like if I had to nitpick one thing, I was just kind of tired of hearing Lila in that voice because I didn't she's a very strong character who I feel is very intelligent, and I don't feel like if she has to blend in with that upper crust society to a degree to kind of, weave her way and pickpocket. And she even talks about how.
Well, a lot of that was because she just spoke English.
No, but I mean, just in general, like back in Grey London, like she still had to navigate in that world to kind of get by.
Dude.
Right, but still, you wouldn't talk like that much.
Did he narrate her as
narrate
her as when she was trying to be a dude?
I mean, it was still gruff. Like the whole thing, I think, was gruff, and that's I don't see her as. I mean, yes, she's from the streets, but I don't know. There's just. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are mentioning that they're not feeling like an immediate need to keep reading just because it did have such a clean ending.
I felt the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that in a story.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read the whole trilogy, so clearly, like, I kept going. But, like, I love that you have the option and you don't feel obligated to do so.
Yeah, that was nice. But I do know that it was Leanne, right? Book club member Leanne was the one. Leanne Mott said that I think the second book does end on a cliffhanger. So you are going to want to go. If you enjoy the second book, you are going to want to go from second to third immediately. But yeah, it was nice to have like a breather.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the details, the juicy stuff.
Jan Jordan says accent does not denote intellect. You don't have to tell us that. We all live in Alabama.
We're from the South.
Good point.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
Preach it.
how did y'all feel about the characters? We kind of talked about Lila a little bit already, but like, who was your favorite character? And she didn't go terribly deep into anybody's like background or anything, but like, what were your overall impressions?
So I flip-flopped with Lila. Like, I liked her most of the time. And then there were times where I was just like, just slow down and think like a second, like quit being so headstrong and rushing into stuff because like he's telling you this is dangerous and that things are bad. And she's just like, okay. And I think we had that issue with the first half of the book too. And that she's kind of that movie character that you're like, don't go in there. Kel, I really liked, and I kept trying to compare him to other V.E. Schwab characters like Victor and Eli. And he kind of had like hints of that sort of sometimes like a little bit of arrogance, but then like, a lot of humility at times when he was just getting the crap kicked out of him, which he did constantly.
That a lot, yeah.
So we're like Kel and Lila being the main characters, and then Holland was kind of one note for me, especially in the second half of the book. He was interesting, and I feel like I wanted to know more about him. And he was like the one character we never really got into his head.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed that. We got into a lot of people's heads, but obviously the Dane twins are just creepy and crazy, but in like an interesting way.
Oh yeah, they're fascinating because I think they are insane.
So probably the worst remodeling job ever.
But I think Jennifer's
the bones in my
comment
floor
is interesting about Holland. I just basically said he was one note, and the fact that he's being controlled and the real him is trying to poke out.
See?
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
He had like a little Darth Vader moment at the end.
See, I mentioned that last time. I knew it.
So what do y'all think about the characters? Did I just take all your words?
Nope. Well, not mine.
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I am the opposite about Lila. There were moments in the first half where she annoyed me. And honestly, I just started to like her more and more. I loved it when she finally got her fancy pirate outfit that she wanted, and she was so into it, and she was getting more confident, and I loved the interactions between her and Rye. Like at the gross. I love the interactions between her and Rye at the end where she's like, he's like, sorry, I tried to kill you. I wasn't myself. And she's like, I shot you in the leg and I was myself.
That was good.
Like I dug it. I loved it. I really enjoyed the lead character whose name I just forgot.
Kel.
Eli.
I really like Cal. Holland had that turmoil that I expected. Like, I really did anticipate that there was a lack of control for him, but that deep, deep, deep down, there was that turmoil. And I have something about him that I want to say in a little bit. And I'm kind of like whatever on Rye, honestly. Like, he's not it for me. So,
There's a bunch of names for you.
The twins, gross. And I just want to point out that I was right about Lila's eyeball. And also, Lucas knows exactly when I read that part, because I read all of that. Like, I finished the book.
Was
like
that what
2
your
days.
O movement was?
I was reading in the living room, and he was sitting on the couch. And as soon as I got it, I went, and I slammed the book closed, and I slammed it on the table, and I just sat there for a minute so I could like mentally process it. And he was like, "Are you okay?"
I was wondering what that moment was for you.
It was
so
the
that's good to
eyeball.
know. Okay.
It was her eyeball. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I got a missing eye.
Mm.
By the way.
Yeah. Where'd it go? What color was it before it out of her head? I'm sorry I made that noise. Your turn.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I hated
Yeah.
it.
I think I liked most of the characters in this. I did like the Dane twins. I thought that they were very sinister, very, very cunning. Like I really liked Astrid's whole speech about wars are won with the battle within, or so. It was a whole monologue that she had. Right, she was monologuing, but I mean, some of the best villain moments are
stuff was
monologuing, and I really liked. I liked that aspect of the story. I love seeing that, there was this deep-seated conspiracy to kind of overthrow that entire world, not just a kingdom, right? This is an entire world by planning this necklace and starting to.
They're gonna open all the doors.
Yeah, so I really dug that. So I liked them. I did kind of lose a little bit of interest in Holland. He did. I wanted more of the chase. I think from that, I liked Lila. I liked Kel. I will say I did not, for some reason, and I think it's maybe just the way she wrote it early on. I didn't really ever buy, and it's probably just me, the bond between Rye and Kel fully. I don't know.
I think we're gonna get more if we keep
I
reading.
think we'll get more, but like I think the way that she initially described Rye is just kind of like, yeah, he's handsome and charming, but he's also just kind of like dancing through life and just being whatever. I was kind of turned off by that, and so when you finally start to talk to him, it was just like, all right, whatever. I've kind of written this guy off as like this charming frat boy, overprivileged guy that doesn't really have to do anything. And so I think that was a disservice for me, the way she initially introduced the character in general, because I couldn't get over that.
As one tiny counterpoint, I really did appreciate how he pardoned the people who kidnapped him
Yeah,
to
I like
murder
that.
him. As a child, he pardoned them, but then not Victor went back and murdered them all because he
Say
didn't
not
forgive them.
Victor.
Yes. You know what I meant.
Yes.
Then he was like, but I didn't forgive them.
No, I got that, but I think it was just hard for me to kind of overcome her initial description of him. I never bought into the character, I think.
I liked him in the beginning, but in the end, I was kind of like, well, whatever. It's not that I was whatever about him. It's just he was not who I was focused on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Rye was kind of in and out for me, and it was mostly like in Kel's head, being like, "Oh gosh, what's he gonna think of me having this evil rock?"
Yeah, well, we saw very little of Rye, and half of what we did see of him, he was possessed by Astrid.
And then he was dead.
Yeah,
Yeah. Rye had a really hard time this book, actually.
it did.
So it'd be interesting to see, especially like the bond that him and Kel have now, like how that plays out in the other books.
Yeah.
It's your turn, Christy. Tell us what you think about the peoples.
I loved all the peoples, actually. I really did. There's so, like I said earlier, like there's so much left that she can tell. She can tell more about Rye, and the relationships were all fascinating to me because like Lila and Kel's relationship was great, and then clearly Kel has this really like twisted relationship with his family, and like I don't know, it's just so interesting. And even Holland and Kel have a really interesting relationship. I know that she doesn't go very deep into the characters, but I really enjoyed what she did do. Mm-hmm. One thing we need to talk about, Matt Scalisi's been wanting to talk about cussing like a lot.
Yeah.
Lately.
But there wasn't cussing.
There was, but
Lila's
it was
cussing.
Like, it's like
an F-bomb.
I don't remember.
Well, he was talking about that. Like, I think he was talking about like that sort of anachronistic.
There's some
cussing or whatever
on it. Yeah.
Where like it's like in Battlestar Galactica where they say frack, but it's like so. Matt, you got a thing about that, huh?
Yeah. He there's at least one comment about
I've said frack before. Sometimes when I just like remember that the children are listening to me.
There's a
yes.
Yeah, let's talk about the cussing. Matt, how do you feel about the cussing? So for me, like I've watched so many like TV, like sci-fi TV shows. It seems like every other sci-fi thing has its own curse words, like Battlestar Galactica, Firefly.
Is that how it was in this book? Because I didn't even
notice anything. Honestly,
I mean, she dropped an F-bomb or two, maybe, but I kind of wondering about that too.
There wasn't enough for me to actually like pick up on it or ever like notate it.
I'm a fine.
Yeah, see, he did a big rant. I knew he did. Let me find it.
Scroll down, guys. I did a big rant.
Just copy paste it.
You where to go? Help us.
No, I can't find it.
Oh, found it. I found it.
Here's my cussing rant. I have no problem with cussing. In fact, y'all can all read. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I love it. Lila uses cusses that people in the 1700s would not have used.
But they were in the 1800s.
That's what you picked up on? I didn't even. When was this? But this is not our world.
Oh, no, it was 17.
But 1700s where?
George.
This is
King
not
George.
Earth. Is it Earth?
I don't know what kind of cuss words they had back then. Like
they definitely said the F word then. There's like notations of that. That's true. Tea and crumpets. Sorry, that was not. But like they said the F word like hundreds of years ago. There are some documented early usages.
Yeah, I think it was the first word.
Ask the caveman.
It does look like. I mean, I assume that Grey London was our world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the readers, a lot of the club members did too.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Grey London is here. We are the boring, farthest away from the magic. So now that we've talked about cussing, I guess.
Does that mean the Earth is flat?
Yeah. It's all coming out and literally wasted.
We're just pieces of paper on top of stacks of turtles. All right, keep going.
She did use the F word, but I totally missed that.
The F word. But now that we've talked about cussing, you can keep talking about it. Here's I had a problem with this, and I went to Christy with this, and she couldn't really help me.
Oh yeah.
What was Astrid and Athos? What was their plan? I did not really understand what their plan was.
Like I specifically
for the rock.
Yeah.
Why did they get Kel involved at all?
Like I know they wanted Kel involved so they could like frame him or like blame him, but like they needed to, and he was like, why didn't you just give the rock to Holland and have Holland take it into Red London? Was their plan to get the rock into Red London so that they could take over Red London somehow?
They wanted to open. They talked about it. They wanted to open up all of the doors.
Yeah, but how did this like specific?
But why didn't they just do it?
Yeah, they had both halves of the rock.
Yeah.
Because they can't travel.
But they don't need to travel to use the rock.
Yeah, can't you just open the doors from White London?
I don't know. I didn't write this book.
So I I actually Googled it a little bit. And there's a train of thought that, she did mention that the two halves of the rocks, they're attracted to each other and they're pulled toward each other. So possibly having one on either side of like the doorway could help with opening up the Londons. But she wasn't even planning on just doing the wall between Red and White London. She was planning on doing all of the Londons. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, I'm gonna make Matt angry.
Are you going to drop the F-bomb in the 1700s?
An English historian came across the F word in a court case in the year 1310.
Really?
This is
Dropping the F-bomb. Sorry. No, like they're for sure.
So talk me through this plan once more. Okay. Astrid and Athos gave this rock to this person to then like give
Trick
to Kel,
Kel
trick Kel into
taking.
saying like, you need to deliver this to someplace in Red London.
I do get
He
why
took the
they
rocks to
took.
Red London.
I do get why they made Kel involved though, because like Astrid, she likes to
wanted
toy
him.
People.
And then
Yeah.
they sent people to kill him to take the rock back. Right?
Did
They-
they?
Did they? Because the guy that they zombied eventually, he froze him and then like left in Red London and went to Grey London with
They
the rock.
didn't do that. The Rock did that.
Yeah, the Rock did, but still, like
They don't control
did
what
it.
the Rock
no,
does.
Kel did it with the rock or something. Or I don't know. Something happened. He froze. That the people that were sent to kill him did not kill him. What was the point in killing him and taking the rock once he got there? Just to
Well,
have a rock back, I guess. But like,
Antari are
Who
really
has
hard
the
to
rock?
kill. Maybe they weren't actually trying to kill him. Maybe they were just trying to get the rock from him.
you know what it
Ah.
sounds like we're talking
Wait,
about?
where'd it go?
Needing the rock to merge worlds. Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
Oh no, you went there.
Find me the rock.
I've never seen it.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so
Oh.
here's the thing. So
I'm gonna play
Antari are the ones that sealed the doors. So they needed Antari to be the one to open the doors.
Okay, here's a
So-
good. Did they?
Well, Astrid definitely did,
Yeah.
but maybe not in that way.
But so they were. Whoops. Yeah.
Well, I also feel like there was a level of Astrid trying to punish Red London for the betrayal that basically doomed White London. Because in the second reign, especially, I kept being reminded of that, and it really kind of changes their perspective. Because Astrid and Athos, the world that they grew up in is awful. It's like really terrible, and I totally get why they are the way they are to a certain extent.
I was still like, I'm still kind of confused as to what Kel's role in this was. Was it just to get the rock there, and then they were going to take it from there? Because then Kel went like,
To Grey
AWOL.
London,
He was like, this thing is bad. I have to take this back to Mordor.
But then it got stuck to his hand. Also, can we acknowledge the fact that he was like walking around this whole time with a rock stuck to his hand? And it was like,
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that part.
it was like,
Is the
what do
rock
you do?
an
What do you do
infinity
if you get a
stone?
scratch?
Is it an infinity stone?
Get out.
Okay, so Bethany says, Astrid says, had I marched upon your palace from the steps, would I have made it this far? So is it that Kel had to have it in the palace? Not sure.
Well,
See?
I think that specific quote is about using the charm necklace
Mhm.
to possess people, because she basically took over the whole palace that way.
Yeah, super creepy. Like
yeah, the king and queen.
everybody,
when
how
she
she was
meets
just
them,
like zipping through like
it
people.
is a pleasure to meet you. Kel should be here anytime soon.
Our
Yeah.
son is missing, but everything is fine.
Everything
We
is
are all
fine.
fine.
We are all fine.
So I was just really confused by what the actual plan was. Like, because we had like, okay, so we had the Danes and their plan with the rock. And then we
I
had
keep picturing Dwayne Johnson. I'm so sorry. Continue.
and then we had the rock. Anything they would create with the rock would possess people and create like rock monsters, like rock zombies that are like disintegrating because they don't have magic.
Gross.
In both in Grey London,
Mhm.
mostly, but also in Red London.
Well, yeah, because even when they were able to dispel it, the vast majority of people that had been like controlled
They
just
still
turned into dust.
Yeah, and then but then you had Astrid possessing people also.
Yeah, but that was like a one-off thing, only if you're touching.
that was the magic charm. Wait, what
Yeah.
were you gonna say before that, Christy?
Oh, I just thought that was an amazing parallel. Having the magic taking control of people and starting its like virus-like thing in Grey London, and then also doing it in Red London, but you see it fizzle out in Grey London. I don't know. I just really enjoyed that.
It made me think of that old school. Do y'all remember that movie?
Because they were
the,
social distancing.
the Faculty. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Where it's like the aliens, but you know what I'm talking about, and it just like into their ear, and then everybody and they spread it to each other. That's what it made me think of, which is gross. But also, I have to admit, even though we only got like a tiny little window with the two Rise guards,
Oh yeah.
the one good guy, the one sweet guard who got
Parrish.
murdered by the other bad guard, that made me way more sad than some of the characters I knew even better. I was real sad
Because it
about
was
him
what like
getting murdered.
the
Thank you.
even said like pure of heart and like,
Yeah, so he got murdered,
like-
and the other guard was a bad guy. But that's fine because then he turned to Smoky Ash Crumblies.
Yeah.
So good, he got what he deserved.
Sorry, Jeff. That was just a big sticking point for me because like I enjoyed the ride, but like the whole time I was like, wait.
See,
why-
that did
like,
not bother
the whole-
me. I feel like you just need to reread that chapter because now
Well,
you're confusing
I did.
me.
But the thing is, I read it twice, and I can't answer this question either. But I think it's something you just have to accept as a whole and move on.
Okay, I mean I did, like because
you-
it's mostly about Kel's quest to get the rock back to Black London. That was the story. That was the driving force of this thing, regardless of what the plan for the rock is and how what.
Well, maybe if you read the rest of the trilogy, it will tell you.
Also, Astrid strikes me as like she likes to play with her victims before she kills
Like
them.
a cat.
Primarily. Yeah, no, she likes to toy with people. There's probably layers and layers of plot that we didn't even get to uncover. So maybe your answer is in there, and she's dead. So is the answer.
Well, that's helpful.
I didn't say it to be helpful.
This is a good point. So it seems like quite some time had passed since Black London closed, and I was curious why it waited so long to become noticed. Well, I kind of feel like the twins were hiding it, right?
Yeah.
So they've been looking for all these little sneaky little artifacts from Black London for a long time, and they've been keeping them secret. So they've been plotting this for a long time because they're psycho.
She wanted Kel to bring the stone into Red London because she wants to own his life. They are taking over Red London because what is time? Yeah, I mean they're just power hungry. I get it.
Did you just give us the page numbers that those answers are on?
We've gotten
oh my
a couple.
gosh, y'all
we've
are
gotten a couple page
incredible.
numbers. So,
That's
Y'all
very
like-
helpful.
Y'all are
Yeah,
like
thanks
teachers.
everybody.
Screen grab it.
Who are
Now you
pointing
know
out
what it's like
page
to have
numbers.
me as a student in
Wow.
a literature class. What? I didn't read that.
Thank you. Love that.
So,
Okay, I have an interesting question.
Yes.
If you had to go talk to one of the twins about something,
No, sorry.
which one would you choose to talk to? Would you choose Astrid or Athos?
what am I talking to them about?
If you're bringing them bad news.
Astrid, maybe? I don't know. No,
Okay.
Athos.
Athos.
Athos?
Because I
Well,
feel like at least he would just torture me and kill me right away. Astrid would play with me for like decades and then
Yeah.
like make me want to
Well,
die.
it's like
Like she's more like no, or I would run away. I
It's
hate
like
this
Bel-
question.
Belloc.
Athos
Like-
is the master of like using the things to control people, like the tattoos.
Yeah, Athos likes to brand people and
Yeah.
like bind people to them like that. Do you want that? Or I would
Yeah,
rather
but Astrid puts people in her floor.
I'd rather be in her floor.
No.
That's
I probably choose Athos also. I think Athos is less scary than Astrid.
That's funny coming from Matt because we know your wife. she is a very powerful woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good
Good,
point too.
Adrienne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that I mean, there were several twists in this book that I appreciated, and like I knew something was off with Rye, but I liked it. I was like, oh, something going down. Obviously, the reveal of Lila's eye was
That was good.
Yeah.
It was enough for me to slam my book down and be like, I need a minute to not read this and just think about it.
and it took like the keeper of the sanctuary to notice,
Yeah.
which was interesting, and it just kind of dropped it. He was like, so how long have you had that
But
glass
I
eye?"
mean, Kel did notice something was off. That was the first words he said to
Yeah.
her.
Which is, and I remembered that, so that was interesting. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But you
But I
know,
like-
for what?
But sorry, just going along with the eye, like he said, she's capable of magic, even though she's from Grey London.
Hi,
I'm
Rachel.
suspicious. I'm very suspicious that she's from Grey London, and we're going to find out more information.
Well,
But sorry, just that one moment where he told her that, I was like, it literally was, he was Hagrid coming in being like, you're a wizard, Lila. And made me more excited. I know, because the next book's like mostly about her, I think.
I have
Well,
to
you
say-
know, like, oh, sorry, you go.
No, this is totally off subject, but Rachel, thank you for dropping in and saying a quick hello. If you can't stay, that's fine. Go ahead and just leave us a comment, because that's
how you win
That's how
things.
you win, or you could win a $100 gift card from Books a Million.
But you don't have to spam us like one comment.
That's right. Yeah, just smiley face, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, back to it.
But yeah, like it started putting pieces together. You know, like Kel was always weirded out by the fact that he could take Lila between the worlds. He was like, well,
Because it should be
it
impossible.
must be the rock. It must
Yeah.
be the fact that I put my coat around her and she's holding the rock. But we know it's not.
Ooh,
Go
can
ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry. I was just saying, like we were saying earlier, that the twins didn't need the rock. I mean, the twins would, oh God, words, that the twins would be able to travel between Londons because they had the rock. But what if they can't? What if the rock really isn't enough and Lila just has that internal magic and that's what made her able to travel and the rock had nothing to do with it?
That's what I just said.
I think you're right.
Is that what you just said? Are you
That's
sure?
right. That's what I was
With
implying.
less words, yes.
Is that like she's an
Okay.
Antares and can
Okay.
travel betwixt
Yeah.
worlds.
Well, and I think it's really fascinating. White London has one Antari. Red London has one Antari. It makes sense that Grey London would have one Antari.
Ooh.
What if
Also,
Black-
since we're throwing things out there,
Yeah, same thing.
let me say this, but also let me preface it by saying, if you have read the rest of the trilogy and you can either prove or disprove the crazy thing I'm about to say, get your fingers away from the keyboard and please do not ruin it for me.
say it.
No
No,
spoilers
this
past
point.
this point.
that's
No
that point.
spoilers past this book.
That's that.
I'm going to say right now that I don't think Holland is dead.
Oops.
I think he is alive in Black London. Antara, you're very hard to kill. He still had the tiniest, faintest of
Oh,
heartbeats.
yeah.
I think he is alive in Black London, and now he got a rock.
Yeah. No, I thought
Don't say anything if you know.
as soon as they like sent him into the Black London world, I was like, oh, he's gone.
Well, yeah, he wasn't dead. So
He's not dead. He had
what
a-
have they done?
But,
He's in there now.
And who else was disappointed that we didn't get to see Black London in this book?
I am not, because I know that there's 2 more books.
Yeah, but I wanted it in
I,
the
wa- I wanted a taste, like I just like give me
But
the
then,
micro, like
you did get a taste. You got the magic virus.
Yeah, but what if
yeah. Oh, the magic virus, the love
Ew.
virus.
Ew, no, it was not a love virus. It was gross. And it was,
Well, someone wanted to talk about that. I
well,
don't remember who it was, but
it was very assaulty.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yay! Sorry, I mean, I'm sorry that I just yayed you not talking. But what I'm actually yaying is your commitment to being fair to all the people who haven't read it yet. Thank you very much.
someone definitely said, "Yeah, that's right, Lisa."
The magic
Brittany, I was also mad. So mad. Samad.
Samad.
I like Lucas. I just wanted to know. I want to know what it looks like there.
Y'all impatient. Keep reading.
Yeah, I'm impatient. Like just a little taste. Like past the hors d'oeuvre platter. I just want like a little crumpet.
It's pronounced Hors de River.
We're talking about Holland being slightly alive or mostly dead in Black London. Oh gosh, what was I about to say? Oh,
he's not dead yet.
There's a really good chance that he's going to come back. And why does he have to come back as a problem? Because through the whole book, sure, he was evil, but he also had his special brand of constantly trying to save Kel's life.
Holland?
Yeah. I mean, sure, he did it in like a bad way, but he was under compulsion. And like later, Astrid told him to go kill Kel, and he was like, I can't kill you, or I'm not supposed to kill you, but I'm going to. And I think that was his way of saving Kel from like the horror of Astrid. Yes,
Talia wants a high five.
Well, I was reminding that I had a thing, but I wanted to wait until you were done. Also, the way that he was mostly killed was by Kel stabbing him through the soul brand. So now his soul brand is messed up, but also what's his face creepy twin guy is dead. So he's not anchored to him anymore. So now if he is still alive, which I think he is, then the version that we're going to get of him might be
the true
all
version?
his own. And we'll get to find out what kind of villain he is when he's not tied to another villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is going to be really great later. I'm saying this from someone who read it 2 years ago and honestly doesn't remember the details at all.
We've been trying to avoid the spoilers there.
Good job.
Well done.
You're entered to win.
See, and Gianna said, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, was Holland really evil though? So here's the thing, he did live in White London, where you have to be incredibly power hungry. Power hungry and evil don't necessarily go hand in hand, but they do overlap. But also he spent a really, really friggin' long time being evil, and you can't live that life without that shit leaving a stain on you. Sorry. So I do feel like he's not a good guy, but things are never black and white.
Or red all over.
Sorry.
Just lost 10 viewers.
I'm kind of proud of that one.
So
Okay.
like there's a lot of things in this book that like leave you wanting more, like the Black London and the Holland story. But the conclusion, should we talk about that? The end of the book?
Yeah. Where Kel and Lila part ways.
Yeah, she just up and left. She's like, I got a boat.
I got a boat, bitch.
I feel like that was a very Lila thing to do.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So it was a very kind of happy ending for everybody. That's why I think for me it wasn't necessary to keep going, because you got Lila riding off in the sunset on her pirate ship. Kel and Rye had this sort of reignited brotherly relationship. The king and queen are like, you guys, they're all patting each other on the back and being like, oh, yo.
They're goofy now.
Yeah, and nobody. But here's the thing that kind of left me feeling a little empty was they mentioned it. They mentioned that like lots of people died in Red London after the virus thing, but nobody seemed to really acknowledge that.
Well, it was just one line.
Yeah, it was like, oh, he turned to a Cocoa Crisp and just
like
flittered
how,
away. And
when you they like passed it off as this like black plague or whatever, or the sickness or whatever they called it. But like you live in a world where magic is plentiful and like bountiful, and the river is glowing. Like, how do you know? How's suspicion not like raised at this point? Like, did Black London get out? What's the fallout from a bunch of people like dying? I mean, I'm sure there's 2 more books, but like nobody.
Well, you're saying that nobody reacted to it, but you don't know that. They didn't even address that. I think that's something
I'd like to know
that if they mention it, it's going to be in the second book.
Yep. Oh no, you have to keep reading.
So
Pringles.
I could eat a lot of Pringles right now.
the Dane siblings wanted to open up all the doorways between all of the Londons. And I think everyone agrees in the book that this is a terrible idea. Well, is it?
Is what a terrible idea.
Opening up the doorways between all of the Londons.
Probably for some. Like if
Well,
you're White London,
for some, it's going to be.
do they want to open up all the doors, including Black London?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. Well,
I'm not sure about
maybe.
that part. At
Anybody
least
know?
Kel said that it was a bad idea, and I have no reason to not believe him yet.
But like even the Danes surely have enough wherewithal to say like, we'll open all the doors, but not Black London.
yeah.
We just want to go this way, not that way. We go to you, not to them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really interested now, and this was one of the big questions I had at the end of the book: is what happens to White London? So Holland's gone, and the twins are gone. What now? So that's a big question mark in my head as to
The next
how does that
person takes over.
well, right, but I mean,
Yeah.
if there's or is Kel gonna go back, or is there gonna be some sort of I don't know, like that was a big question mark in my head that left me really it's kind of like a motivating factor to carry on, because I really want to see what happens to this land.
Well, one thing that I thought about, and I don't know if it's accurate, I know that like you have to be like the most power hungry person to like claim the throne, but I also like for a second I kind of forgot what the rules were, and I was like, do you have to kill the predecessor in order to become the king or queen? Like,
Yeah,
and-
it's like the mirror universe in Star Trek.
God, you got really loud. But like,
Hi.
if that's the case, Kel is the one who killed the king and the queen. Does that mean Kel has a right to the white throne?
I don't think that's part of the rules. I think it's honestly just whoever comes out on top and can take control and keep it.
Well,
Yeah.
he turned Asterd into a statue and then smashed her up into no, was that the other one?
Yeah, Astrid, he turned into the statue.
Yeah, statue, and then which made me think of that other movie that I can't remember where they like freeze the people and then smash them and then gross little human cubes go everywhere. What's that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
You watch some weird movies.
Okay. Someone, if you know what I'm talking about, there's this movie where they like froze the people and then they smashed the people and then like little bloody ice cubes went. I'll think of it later. It's fine.
So Dan mentioned about the king and queen, and they were deliciously wicked.
Like Lucky Charms.
Oh, that you're talking about White London. That makes
Yeah.
way more sense.
Yeah, not the
It's
not
like-
the like
They were
Red London like
there were some
what
red
a
flags there,
happy
but like
kingdom.
Okay, but they didn't just die. They put up a heck of a fight against an Antari holding a whole stone,
Infinity Stone.
holding the black infinity stone. So I mean, they had no chance. Like, of course they were gonna die. He's now that Holland is alive and trapped in Black London, he's like Kel is like the most powerful dude in all of the other Londons.
Yeah, but he doesn't have it anymore. He's regular Kel now.
But he's still an Antari. Regular Kel is still, he's now like the only Antari that we know about. Look at you, Lola. So, you know.
So something that
Sorry.
something that's kind of interesting. If you go on Goodreads
What's that
for this
asterisk?
book, the E. Schwab has like notes, like 13 notes about the book. And so she takes like different passages and then kind of explains some stuff. And it was really great. I actually copied and pasted 2 of them. So this book actually started with an idea, and it was just when Kel is injured in the streets of Grey London and Lila, dressed as a man, like bumps into him and steals from him. That's what inspired this whole book.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
That's,
And I love that.
that's cool.
The other like really cool one is in her first version of the book, you know, the kid in White London. No, yeah, in White London that's like blocking the door to Astrid.
Belloc.
But he's like, kill me.
Belloc.
Yeah.
Mhm. in the first version, she let him live, but then she had to go back and edit it because she couldn't pull her punches like that and like be honest to the book. But there was some really cool stuff. If you're interested, you should go look at those.
That kid made measles.
Yeah, that was tough. Like I could actually visualize that scene and like his face, and that was.
But at least now he's free.
He's free.
But
Yeah.
it
See,
sucked.
He
They
did.
had just killed Athos, or they're about to kill Athos. Maybe he would have been free anyways.
Julie made it. Hi.
Ah!
There was so you talk about V. Schwab's inspiration, the thing that made her write this book. There was another book recently where there was like one singular thing that like spawned the rest of the book, and I can't remember which book it was, but there's a
Airport
difference.
It was The Magicians.
Oh, sorry.
I think Lev Grossman wrote that classroom scene, he said.
Right.
And that's what spawned the entire Magicians thing. And he wrote that in like 1996, he said.
That's crazy.
There was a difference between knowing that about this book and knowing that about the Magicians, and that the Magicians like felt like that was the thing. Like it was like this was an interesting thing that like felt kind of weird and out of place. But here, I feel like she did a much better job of taking that moment and then developing more cohesive.
Oh yeah, I would say
story.
bumping into someone and pickpocketing them, and then all of a sudden it creating multiple Londons is like a stretch.
Yeah. Another really cool thing is that in the first version of the book, the magical virus wasn't a thing. She went back and added that.
Okay, I can see that. That feels kind of like an added thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? I love
Now that
that.
I know that, and I can look at hindsight in 2020. Yeah.
Don't say that.
definitely.
We don't say that word.
Captain
2020?
Hindsight.
Yeah, we don't say that out loud.
Don't say that word.
There's
say
a
that.
flash between the things. It's like the news
You have
show.
to say 20-20.
20/20.
Yes.
But like, because again, it didn't pay off really. Like it just was.
Yeah, but it kept escalating, and you knew that it kept going in the background. And for me, that added like an extra level
Oh, definitely. Like
of like, oh shit, what's going to happen?
the escalation was great,
Yeah.
but then it didn't do anything. It was just like build.
Yeah, it did. A bunch of people died.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
hundreds of people
nobody
died.
cared.
You don't
You
know
don't
that.
know that.
I'd be with
I'm sorry. I just kept laughing. Vicky's comment. I'm assuming someone spelled throne with a W, which is fine. We're all typing real fast because we're busy talking. But she said, "Serve the throne." Yeet. And that got me. Okay, sorry. No, you are too old to dab.
I dabbed.
Oh,
Stream.
take a lap.
Let's just end the live stream early. I'm just kidding. We got 7 more minutes. Oh, what else? I wanted to talk about Holland, and we did it. I wanted to talk about Lila's eyeball, and we did it. Honestly, those were the 2 things that like stuck out the most for
Ripty's
me.
got a whole sheet of things to talk about.
I will say these discussions really, really are helpful for me because now so much time has passed, a week and 5 days since I finished this book, to the point where I like was focusing on other stuff. And I was like, I don't have to continue this series, but now that we're having this discussion again, I'm like, oh, I need to pick the book back up. Okay.
This is something that I wanted to talk about. So we were introduced to a bizarre character at the end. Well, it looked like it hurt. Which was magic. When Kel was being taken over by the stone, Vitari was that the name?
Vitari.
Oh, it talked.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, like manifested itself as like a Kel-ish person
Mhm.
in his own
Shadow Kel.
Yeah, Shadow Kel. That was weird to me, and like all of a sudden, like I'm like, oh, he's talking to like magic itself. Is this just a manifestation of magic?
I think it was just a manifestation. I kind of read it as magic. Vitari was kind of fighting for Kel's soul at that point, like control over him, his mind, his body. And that was him fighting back.
But it was like this, it was this interesting like villain that was introduced, like finally like given a face and a form that had been like there the whole time. And like, think about how many like battles we had in this book. There's the Danes, there's the possessed people from Astrid, there's the possessed people from the Stone creations, and then there's the fighting the twins themselves, and then there's Holland, and then there's all of a sudden this magic guy at the end. There's a lot of people.
I know who it made me think of. It made me think of, okay, in Captain Marvel, you know how when they all like plug in to talk to the great artificial intelligence leader thingamajigger, and it just it's you see it as whoever is like important to you, but no one really knows what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's Vitari. So Kel saw it as himself, but really we don't know what it looks like because we haven't been plugged into it.
There's a comment that takes up our whole faces.
Woo!
Nice.
Let Andy this.
One other thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that Kel and Lila, they kissed twice and they were good luck kisses, but I didn't feel any sexual tension between them at all.
Agreed.
And I really appreciated that a guy and a girl could be co-stars of this book and not have a romantic relationship.
Yes, it just would have slowed things down and it was not necessary. Ooh,
And it would have been out of character for both of them, I think.
Like
And
Star Wars.
Who knows what happens in the next books, but for the first book, I really did appreciate that.
I appreciated that too. I did not want them to get together.
I didn't either. Like Star Wars.
It wasn't needed.
Like Star Wars.
But I mean, but they were good like adventure buddies. They had
Yes.
a good
Yeah.
We love them
In dynamic.
separately.
And their
Star
relationship's fantastic.
Don't spoil it though. If there's 100 kisses in book 2, I want to find out myself.
Yeah, don't tell us.
It's Holland and Kel, so it's okay.
I wonder if their eyeballs match up.
With their left and right eyeballs, and they're like,
I wonder what their depth perception is like. That's not important. Continue.
Ooh, the doppelgangers.
mm.
That's interesting.
I do like that. Whoever said, I can't even remember, guys, at this point. But like, Martin, I agree with that. Is Lila the Grey London's Vitari? And Christy said it. Thank you, Christy. I think someone said it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I just like that.
you.
Oh, that was it. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
No kissing. Yeah.
Ugh. I still think they might be related. Ugh. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Neither of them remember their childhood. Hello.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we don't know if like Antares themselves have some sort of familial
That's right.
bond.
Ew.
KL. That's all he had. It's like Lone Star. This. Nick.
Lone Star from
Yeah.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Okay, final thoughts.
And are you going to keep reading?
Yeah.
So I loved it. This was my second read of it, and I really enjoyed it. And I will not be reading the whole trilogy for a second time, but I just think you all should. It's really good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. Obviously did have some issues with it, but still enjoyed it. And now my interest in reading the rest of the trilogy has been renewed thanks to this live discussion.
I like this book a lot. You guys, maybe, talking through all this stuff, you kind of know my preference is more sci-fi versus fantasy. So if I had given the choice, I would much rather finish the Silo series or Red Rising first before I jump into this. But I will say of the fantasy novels that we've read with magic and such, this is definitely up there. I really did like the world building, and I'm really interested. It's just like, I gotta finish some of these other things before I read some of these other trilogies.
I would keep reading. Is it high on my list to do? No, but if I had the chance to keep going, I will. I think Vengeful is higher on my list of sequels to read than the next one, which I don't know the name of.
Vengeful is really good. I liked it much better than Vicious.
But everybody says that you should keep reading that's read it, and I really want to, Leanne's going to reread the trilogy.
Ooh.
If I could just get like a chapter, just find a Black London chapter. I just want to know what Black London looks like. But I like the book. It was a nice, straightforward from Christopher story, and it was fun, even though I didn't understand some of it.
We have some announcements. Oh, sorry, Christy. I was
going to say the same thing.
Okay, good.
Okay, multiple announcements. One is, remember, thank you to Second and Charles and Books A Million. They are the ones that gave us the super amazing gift card that we are giving away tonight. So if you have been watching this whole time and you have not made a comment, please do so now. That comment can be anything, to like, I liked the book, to I didn't like the book.
I don't want to cancel.
I want to be friends with Talia. Just say anything. It doesn't matter. And that automatically enters you into the drawing to win a $100 gift card to Shopee Online. So thank you once again to Second and Charles and Books A Million for that. Also, if you are new, if this is your first time joining us, hello. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter. And also, please join our Facebook group, The Literarily Wasted Lounge. That is where we talk about all of the books, all of the time. It's a super awesome, positive community where literally you can comment and be like, I just read this random, obscure book. Does anyone want to talk about it? And I guarantee you someone else in there has probably done it.
It is literally the most positive book club group on Facebook. But no, I mean, seriously, I'm in all sorts of different video game groups. I can't talk tonight. It's one of the most positive, uplifting, just everyone gets along, and it's wonderful. So go join that lounge. It's fun.
Do those things.
Is there anything else?
Yes. Also, y'all may have noticed it is the end of the month, and we were not able to secure a Q&A with V.E. Schwab like the last 2 months that we did, and we're very sorry. She's a very, very busy woman. Thankfully, she's not busy in August, and that's when our Q&A is.
What?
So she is super busy, but yes, we do have a live Q&A with V.E. Schwab on Sunday, August 2nd. It is on Sunday, August 2nd at 1:00 in the afternoon Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And just a heads up, I know a lot of y'all might be new. You might have recently joined the club, but V.E. Schwab's book, thank you, Adam. V.E. Schwab's book, Vicious, was a book club pick September of last year. So for this Q&A, we actually are going to open the questions up to be about Vicious and A Darker Shade of Magic. And all that means, if you haven't read it, you have a month. You have all of July to read Vicious, and then you can ask her questions about both books.
Yes.
You've got time.
And guys, the reason this is so delayed is, as someone else referenced, she does have a novel that she's rolling out, and she's living in Paris right now. So we've been working, going back and forth with her publicist, and we so wanted to announce this earlier, but we thought we'd trick you guys, and we're so excited. We're so grateful. We're so grateful.
Also, give it some time, because obviously this is 5 weeks away.
Yes.
We cannot hear you screaming in Tennessee, but I'm kind of worried about your neighbors now. You might want to tell them that you're okay.
So yeah, the graphic was wrong. It's August 2nd because I pushed the button next to 2 and it was 1.
So yes, Dan, Mike, y'all are making some comments about the sequels. We are going to say the sequels are off limits for the Q&A, just to be fair to everyone who hasn't had an opportunity to read them. So strictly just the 2 books that have been book club choices, Vicious and A Darker Shade of Magic. Let's focus our questions on those 2 so as to not ruin the experience for anybody else, like me, in case I don't finish in time.
That was the biggie. We were saving that for last.
I think I'm out of announcements. Yeah? Okay, no?
I can't think of anything else.
I think that's it.
So yay.
No?
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Oh my gosh, Adam, you did it.
Hey.
Right there. Right?
That's how they do dates in Red London.
That is no.
August.
I would just like to say that I made the graphic that's going up tomorrow, and I proofreaded it, and it says August 2nd. But now I'm going to go proofread it again because I'm like,
Fix it.
yeah, August 2nd.
What do you think people like to read?
You're fired, Adam.
Oh,
I'm firing you.
What do we got? Like a bunch of editors in here. Jeez.
yeah, look, we got so much engagement from that.
Wasp. Toost.
August.
I'm so embarrassed. No.
Oh man.
Bye.
It makes for great conversation. They can make fun of you in the group, and it's just showing our personality. Toost.
I'm gonna add this to a group rule. Like, if you join the Literally Wasted Labs, one of the little rules that you have to agree to is the word second doesn't exist anymore. You have to say toost.
Yeah, so
The Toost book I've written by V.E.
tune in
Schwab.
on August Toost for V.E. Schwab. We'll get V.E. Schwab in on the joke.
Shirt idea. Oh yeah, Brandy. Shirt idea.
She doesn't need to know that we can't spell
Right?
that.
Yeah, first Toost. Oh god,
Oh my god.
what's happening?
If no one's seen The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, it's a fantastic movie.
It's called Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky
All right,
Bobby.
you're subtitling it though. Anyway, guys. Toost and Charles.
Julie, you broke Lucas.
Oh my god. Toost and Charles.
Oh gosh.
Hey, maybe my red face will give color back to you. Oh my god.
No, I'm still a ghost.
Julie.
So we usually announce the live discussions, but you can check out. We did an announcement video for the next book, which is N.K. Jemison's The 100,000 Kingdoms.
And
You
then
can see
that book.
the first live discussion and the Tooth live discussion.
they're the 15th and the 29th. July 15th and July 29th are the two. We're gonna create events tomorrow. Don't worry, it'll be on Facebook. Just look for it. Oh my, okay, so this has been really productive, and we love you all. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, just turn it off.
See y'all next
This is
time.
the best stream yet.
We'll see you in the
Best
group.
stream yet.
Good love you guys. Good night.